Hello, everybody on planet Earth. My name is Stephen Beecham, producer of the Byte Extra Crunchy podcast with your host, Mr. Brian Tong.
What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome to the show. We can't do the show without you, Beach. You know it's Beach and Tong all night long.
Beach and Tong.
All night long. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is episode 106. This is Byte Extra Crunchy, our complimentary piece to the Byte video podcast, which I think it should be dropping in a little bit, quite honestly. But we like to, add on additional stories that have happened, that are developing. It's always changing every day. We try and keep you current, and this is really where we can talk about all those things. But you ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls that are listening are always a part of the show. We had like over 20 calls or something ridiculous this week, right, Beach?
Yeah, it was heavy on the calls, and thank you guys. It was awesome. A lot of good calls.
So we did whittle them down. But if you guys want to be a part of the show, again, call us at 1-800-616-2638. That is how you can be a part of this show, with your name, where you're from. And then we really do like your opinions and commentary. Sometimes people ask me like, what phone are you using? And that's like, I'm using an iPhone. So just ask us something that like you want, that can open up discussion, because we like kind of breaking it open and talking about a lot of things as well. But yeah, that's how you get a part.
I did kind of like that question though, Brian. I'm curious, what phone, what size, what color,
Well, if you must know, this is like an iPhone 7 right now. I'm not going to get an 8. I'm waiting for the 10 because I got to review that thing. And so I'm going to go 10, 10, 10.
And 10, 10.
We'll rain a 10, 10. So let's jump into the show. First of all, let's just start the show on a high note. And I wanted to really just say happy birthday to the Mac Mini. Like, could you believe it? Happy birthday. The Mac Mini is 3 years old since the last time they updated it.
I was going to say 3 years old. That's really young.
Since the last time they updated it, bro.
That's crazy, man.
I feel like I would say like every other week someone asks me on Twitter or something like, what's going on with the Mac Mini? Everyone thought we'd see some sort of a refresh. It's kind of a sad Apple. It's a sad Apple birthday for the Mac Mini, which has not seen a single refresh.
The Mac Mini was kind of like a breakthrough. It's just this small, tiny device. It was like a full-on desktop computer. And I did
media server and everything.
I did have a lot of friends who owned them and used them and like lived and died by them, and I'm surprised that they just have not updated it for 3 years, which is pretty unreal.
So we get a lot of calls, and sometimes we do answer questions within the show because the topic comes up that you ask us. So our boy Faz, we think it's Faz, not Fad, but Faz from Toronto, asked specifically what's going on with the Mac Mini. Well, lo and behold, a Mac Rumors user sent an email over to Tim Cook, and like Steve Jobs did in the past, sometimes we get lucky. He responds, and then these type of emails are put up on the net for us to see. The reader's name was Krar, and he asked Tim Cook straight up, like, I love the Mac Mini, but it's been over 3 years now without an update. Are we going to see anything in the pipeline anytime soon? Tim replied and said, I'm glad you love Mac Mini. We love it too. Our customers have found so many creative and interesting uses for Mac Mini. While it is not time to share any details, we do plan for Mac Mini to be an important part of our product line going forward. Best, Tim.
That's funny that he like replied to it and was so like PR. It was such PR speak, but it makes sense.
I also like how he has adopted the official terminology where Apple has created their own language. You notice yes. Not in that entire thing, he never said the Mac Mini.
Yeah.
He just said, I'm glad you love Mac Mini. And remember, this is a while ago for people that don't remember. I believe it was Phil Schiller who, when it was asked specifically, like, how do you say the iPhone or multiple iPhones? He responded that iPhone is just, you don't say the iPhone, you just say iPhone. And if you're talking about singular iPhone, it's an iPhone. And if it's multiple, it's still iPhones. You could say, I have 35 iPhone.
Yeah.
That's how we're supposed to say it according to Apple.
It's singular
I have 35
and plural, right? Singular and plural somehow.
My family owns 5 iPhone.
I've owned 5 iPhone in my life.
Dude, it's just making us dumber. We're becoming dumber. I can't get over that. So anyways, the letter, Tim Cook says it's coming. It's also aligns most likely with their kind of plans for the Mac Pro, which they clearly completely ignored, dropped the ball, didn't care about, and only really responded, if you recall, after there was like a render of what a Mac Pro could look like, and the community and people started talking about it and getting mad about the Mac Pro, and then all of a sudden Apple's like, oh yeah, people don't really like the trash can Mac Pro. We should probably create a modular, customizable one that professionals like. So we'll see when it comes out, but Mac Mini, look, obviously this clearly confirms in my mind that there's nothing that's going to happen in 2017. And if anything, we'll see something in 2018. 3 years without a refresh is forever in the tech world, especially with computers. That's a long time to go without a single refresh.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Big time. So there's your update, Faz, and everyone else that was asking about. We're going to jump over to kind of keep you all updated with the latest iPhone news. There's a few stories that have been popping around. The latest is we have talked constantly about how the iPhone is expected to be in high demand and the product and supply won't be able to meet that. We talked about a few stories where the initial estimation was somewhere around like 50 million units, then it dropped to 45 and 40, and then I think last week we said estimations had been pegged at 35 million units at least to get out there, I believe, by the end of 2017. Well, a new report, according to Digitimes and other sources, have now said that Apple 10 suppliers are reportedly going to be on schedule to meet at least their 2017 production demand. You have to remember that production demand is different than consumer demand. Production demand is really more of a number based on how many they thought they'd be able to produce. They would set that benchmark, whereas consumer demand is going to be a lot higher than that, and it's still going to be a hard phone to get. So at least it's not. I think it would be worse if they said that they aren't going to be able to meet their production goals. That would be even a bigger problem. But according to a few reports from Digitimes and others, that's not the case. The other report that we have going out here is that we know that a lot of people are just waiting for the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. According to Reuters, citing China's Economic Daily News, the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus production will reportedly drop nearly 50% once iPhone 10 launches.
Oh wow!
Which is a big drop, right? There's already been reports that the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, Apple hasn't talked or they have not been bragging about its numbers, and clearly this is because most people are waiting for the 10. Although there are plenty of people that are getting the 8, it's not like the 8 is doing bonkers. There were even early reports that the iPhone 7 is currently outselling the iPhone 8, but Apple would not confirm that. They also didn't deny it either.
Yeah. So when the iPhone X ships, they're gonna cut production of the iPhone 8 50% is what that said, right?
Exactly. And that would make sense if clearly the numbers in the pre-orders tell them where all the demand is going, right? That they know, okay, fine, maybe we have to tweak our numbers. That's the beauty of pre-orders, at least for a manufacturer. They can kind of then shift and adjust how they've plotted out or planned for the phone to come out and what inventory levels they allocate. So there you go, iPhone 8, 8 Plus. I don't know if it's a shocker per se, but that story just came out. In addition, with other iPhone news, we know our friend Ming-Chi Kuo from KGI Securities, who drops all types of knowledge and rumors and bombs on us. According to him, all iPhone models in 2018 will likely abandon fingerprint recognition.
No!
Again, all phone models in 2018 were likely to get rid of Touch ID from Apple. Now, according to Kuo, Apple is going to completely embrace Face ID. It looks at it as a competitive advantage over Android smartphones. We talked about how Android manufacturers have been kind of trying to figure out and sourcing and looking for requests for similar Face ID / True Depth 3D scanning sensors for security purposes for future phones from Android. I think the report was the requests were up 2 to 3 fold, 3 times what they normally are. Apple looks at this as a competitive advantage. Again, we'll have to wait to see how much faster it is. I think if they can make it almost as fast as Touch ID, not this year, but let's say in another year or so, I think it'll be great. But we will see. We don't have a phone in our hands right now. We don't use it every day, so we can't really say that for sure. But you know, Touch ID is still like I use Touch ID all the time on my phone still.
Yeah, for sure. Like last week, this was like just a big question, and a lot of stories came out just last week about that. But so no, we're not going to expect anything under the screen. That's done. Not going to think about that anymore, right?
That all indications point to that is not part of Apple's plan.
All right, man. So everyone's going to have to completely change the behavior, and your phone's going to know what you look like, and it's kind of a whole new world.
And they'll totally do it because they won't buy another phone. You're in the ecosystem, baby. You're trapped. We're all trapped in this thing, man. We're trapped.
I do remember a story last week, too, that I forget, some analyst group predicted that Apple was like, 2 years in front of everyone else in terms of that technology, the face scanning tech. There were 2 or 3 years, was it, right?
Yep, that is correct, sir. Wow. So Ming-Chi Kuo was the one that actually put out that article that it would take around 2 or 3 years for Android to catch up, at least with the technology. Again, the technology is more advanced from a standpoint of it is more secure, but it hasn't proven to be faster yet. That's where it has to evolve. So, like I put my fingerprint on the back of a Pixel and it's super fast. I put my fingerprint on the front of an iPhone and it's super fast. Will Face ID be that fast? All indications say not really, but it's not slow either, right?
Yeah. And it's also like the first iteration of Face ID that we've seen, so it'll only improve over time. But I still just, the creep factor of your phone just like seeing you all the time and knowing it's you, it's just creepy to me. But
it is, it is creepy.
We'll get used to it, I'm sure.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it is.
All right, here's some. I don't know if this is shocking news. We talked about the foldable, flexible phone last week. This comes out from the Korea Herald via the Investor. Apple is reportedly mulling the idea of launching a stylus compatible with the iPhone, believed to be a new iteration of the Apple Pencil. Now, an iPhone with pencil support could potentially launch as early as 2019. The sources say that this iPhone is going to likely adopt a super capacitor stylus type for pricing benefits, different from the Galaxy Notes Pen, which is an electromagnetic resonance technology. It needs additional components to be installed underneath that smartphone display. This super capacitor type is actually cheaper to make. I don't know how much more accurate it is, or if the accuracy is the same, then it won't matter. If we don't feel it, then it just won't matter. We do know that back in December of 2015, patents had surfaced from Patently Apple, revealing that Apple is working within an Apple Pencil that functions on an iPhone, as well as a wider range of applications and devices from Apple. It basically supported the use of some sort of a stylus on all devices. We know Apple's exploring this. We know Apple's exploring foldable, flexible phones. We know that the bezel-less phone age is here to stay as well. So this is just what's interesting to me is that, can you pull up, I always love this. It is dated and times have changed, but did you see that link I put up for the Steve Jobs video clip?
Yeah.
Speech?
I'm pulling it up right now.
This is again from like Macworld, I believe 2007. And this is how Steve Jobs at that moment in time felt about a stylus.
How are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch.
All right. That's cool.
Great.
This is a funny soundbite. It's so funny. So look.
It's hilarious.
The Note is an amazing product. And again, this was back in that time. Like the Note can do so many things that our phone. And it's not for everyone. It's if you want that experience and you want to be able to use your phone that way. I just, Apple has talked so much crap about just not having a stylus historically, even after SJ, and when SJ dropped that keynote, they've always been anti-stylus, and it's just interesting how we see this happening, and most likely we'll see one in the next, let's say, 2-3 years or so. But I just wonder how their story will change, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm curious what it's going to be. I'm curious if it's going to like connect to the phone or something, or how they're going to market it. That's going to be a big thing that's going to be interesting, is how they're going to market it to everyone, because it's very clear Steve Jobs did not want a stylus, and now they're doing it, so they have to explain why.
And the patent also not only covers things like an iPhone, but it also included a MacBook as well. So when I talk about this stylus functionality, it's across their entire product line.
Yeah.
So it's something that obviously Apple is working on, and they've always been working on it. So we will see. All right. Should we take a little breather and show some love to our lovely sponsor?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Check this out. Apple device management can be time-consuming work, especially if IT is not your daily job. Thankfully, Jamf Now helps you manage your Apple devices from anywhere. With Jamf Now, keeping up with your equipment, it's a breeze. Even as your business grows, you'll be able to keep track of everyone's Macs and iPhones and iPads with ease. The need to secure your iPad that, guess what, sometimes your sales rep who went on a party the night before lost on their recent trip. Jamf Now allows you to configure settings, protect sensitive info, even lock or wipe a device remotely no matter where you are. That way, you can focus on your business and there's no IT expertise needed. So check this out. Right now, our listeners, the Apple Byte Nation, can set up their first 3 devices for free, add more for just $2 a month per device, and start securing your business today. So check it out. Go to jamf.com/crunchy to create a free account and set up your 3 free devices today. That's jamf.com/crunchy.
That's cool.
Boom.
Because you might only just need 3 devices for your business, so that's
You could
perfect.
use that for your home.
Hell yeah.
You don't have to be. You don't.
My kids are on the iPad. I'm at work. I'm gonna lock down their iPad. Get off the iPad.
Locked up. Just lock them up.
Lock them down.
I'm locked up. All right, so check a little Akon for you, for all you Akon lovers. All right, let's also kind of keep you updated. This is related to Apple. We know that you heard about that whole crack Wi-Fi vulnerability over the past week that everyone was freaking out about. Yeah. Basically, it was a vulnerability in the WPA2 Wi-Fi standard that protects pretty much almost, I would say like 90% of people use WPA2. This is like that password that you come up to protect your own home networks. Well, there's a vulnerability that was discovered and exploits that would potentially leave any device connected to a Wi-Fi network that is based off of WPA2 protection and allow someone to access things like the traffic on there, access directly files from your computer, in and out data, literally everything, emails, passwords, whatever you can think of. So everyone was freaking out because of this. Now companies like Google and I think Microsoft and Apple are addressing this and talking about how there are updates available. So what Apple has done is they have come out and said, they told iMore's Rene Ritchie that iOS, tvOS, watchOS, and macOS betas that are currently available have addressed this Wi-Fi vulnerability, and they will be rolling out the official versions of this to customers soon, but it at least has been available and is addressed with the betas at the moment. So they're not, look, this is a vulnerability that was revealed, and it's not like anyone is using it right now, at least that I know of. So don't get all freaked out and just be like, I'm never using Wi-Fi again. You're just going to have to really be diligent in updating your router software and your devices as this rolls out. My assumption is that this fix to kind of protect yourself from the crack, it's spelled KRACK if you want to look it up. It's pretty gnarly. I'm sure that these updates are going to come in like the next week or two. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. But if you get hacked because I said that, then don't blame it on me.
Yeah, I think CNET has some how-tos to enhance your router, like fix any router problems you might have. But I've been needing to update my router too and change. And just if you change the password, I think on your router would help things a little bit. but I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, I don't. That's not good news. But thanks, Apple, for fixing it.
Yeah, ultimately, this hack anyone can access any device on any Wi-Fi network. It's pretty gnarly.
It's gnarly.
It's kind of dangerous. So just be aware of what's going on out, around us with that. Let's also jump over to this story. We talked kind of about, it must have been like a month ago, about how the FCC was asking or requesting that Apple turn on the FM radio in their phones. Remember that? So a new request is now coming out from the National Association of Broadcasters, who, along with the FCC, is urging Apple to add FM radios to iPhones. Now, here's the trick, right? According to Apple, they say the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 do not currently have FM radio chips or antennas that support FM signals, and it's not really clear how simple it would be to add those. We talked about how the actual headphone jack cable that physically connected to things like the iPod Nano ended up being the antenna, which allowed you to listen to FM radio on a device like that. That was like the little square clip-on iPod Nano.
Yeah, it's genius too. It's a genius idea.
Loved it, and we joked about it's because you got there is no headphone jack. There's a light, there's a freaking dongle port now. It's like, come on, guys. So the thing about it is, in teardowns of the iPhone 8, it does indicate that they use a Broadcom chip, and that chip is integrated with an FM radio. And so they're just basically asking Apple, flip this switch. But again, I don't know whether instead of directly going into the port, if from previous old school iPhones and iPods even, if that is one of the reasons why it can't support FM, because there's no actual legitimate wide-reaching antenna. We know how tricky putting antennas in phones can be, the placement of it, and then if you're talking about an FM radio antenna, that they don't want it to take up more space in their gadgets. They'd rather have the slimmest device with the least battery possible than a thicker one that supports FM radio, a headphone jack, and a longer battery life.
Yeah, I mean, could they make an FM antenna dongle or something and sell it for like $2? I think that would be a way to go, maybe.
The fact that we have to ask that question makes me sick.
It'd be cool. You have a little dongle hanging off and you pull out the antenna. It'd be awesome.
You make it. You make it.
I will. We'll make a mock-up. We'll make a mock-up of it.
All right. I put this story in the show because I liked it. There is this new app called Nude. It's available on iOS and Android, but the app is called Nude. And it's called Nude, the sexiest app ever, or something like that, if you look it up in the App Store. But why is this important? Okay, so check this out. This app was created by two people, and really what it does is it uses machine learning. It uses Apple's API, which is called Core ML. It helps them assist this, and what it does is it scans through your entire library of photos. It then, using machine learning and being able to identify which ones are nudes and which ones are not, it actually wraps them securely into think of it as a protected vault on your phone that no one else can look at. It allows you to delete them from both your camera roll and the iCloud if you want to, but this is all thanks to this app.
So
it's called
Are the people at Nude able to see all your nude photos? Or
no.
How does this
yes,
work?
This is a great question. Very good, Mr. Beecham. So what's interesting is because the Nude app itself, images are never sent to their servers or anything. And it's possible because of Apple's Core ML API, the machine learning framework. So what does it do, right? So this Core ML, the way that machine learning works, for everyone that may not be familiar, you always hear this term, is right. The brains are in the software, but what does the software need to actually learn? They need examples. So, for example, if the machine learning needs to figure out what is a nude and what's not, it needs to look at millions of pictures of nudes and non-nudes. And the company said that the way that they did this to teach it and to get it smarter is they basically have it scrape naughty sites and porn sites to then learn what are nudes compared to what are not nudes.
Oh, wow. So they're showing it porn to teach it. That's funny.
Yes. So then that information is plugged into their app, which is using the core ML, the machine learning, and then it's using that information to look through your photo collection, protect it, but it never gets sent to their servers.
Huh. But then they could also potentially have analytics on like percentage of Americans or whoever's using iPhones who have nude photos on their phones. So they could have some personal information about you. You know,
I guess the most they could do is like positives versus negatives, right? I mean, they don't actually have the files themselves, but yeah, they could say, oh, based on our app, we know that the average American has blank nudes. But the funny thing is that someone tested it, and if you have man boobs, it does count that as a nude.
Oh no.
Man boobies count as nudies.
Oh no. They got to fix that. They got to tweak that algorithm.
If you have a beard and man boobs, it's not a nude.
Well, we could.
Well, actually, there's bearded. I've been to the circus a few times. I've seen a lot of.
Anything's possible on this earth.
It's San Francisco. We see that every day.
Oh yes, we do. Folsom Street Parade.
They should just run that app in San Francisco. They'll get all types of data that they never even knew existed.
Totally.
The other funny note about this is that they were promoting the app at the recent TechCrunch Disrupt conference. And they said that a lot of people said, hey, I don't have nudes, but can you tell me more about this app? Sure, dude. Sure.
That's funny.
So anyways,
it's interesting.
I thought it was interesting, though. It's funny because it's a little salacious, but there's actually interesting technology involved with Apple's core ML that is working to help this app out. It's interesting.
I feel like I'm hearing the term machine learning almost every day with like new technology, apps, everything. Like it's happening all the time now. So computers are learning everything that we do, all of our bad habits, all of our good habits. So just be ready, man.
It's just the first part to Skynet. That's all we're trying to get to.
Yeah, we're just educating them to get up to speed with us, right?
Like people, we as a society can't help ourselves but see what's in a movie and then want to make it happen in real life. Like,
yeah,
we've seen it so much. It's just the fact. Like, if someone came up with it in a movie, someone's gonna try and make it in real life now.
Yeah,
flying cars, tablets, literally tablets. Like computer tablets. That's Star Trek stuff, man.
Yeah, I think the first time any tablet was seen was in like Space Odyssey, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh, nice. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's the first time that we ever saw like prior art to an iPad. And there's a guy sitting on a ship, like looking at an iPad thing. So it's interesting.
I can confirm to you that if I use the nude app, there would be no positives.
Yeah, I'm not taking nude pictures of myself either, man. Maybe my wife might. No, I'm just kidding. No. Taking pictures of me, I'm saying.
I actually have some really funny stories, not associated with me, but I shouldn't get into it. People are going to start wondering. Okay. Seriously, I don't know why I even said anything. Now people are like, what
identify screenshots is what. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, but if now people are going to be like, wait, what were you just referring to? Maybe I'll talk about another show, but not today. All right, here's this is kind of a fun one. It was a quote from Eddy Cue. I know we're kind of jumping around all over the place. We're kind of winding down before we get to our voicemails, but I clearly had poor organization on the show because I should have put this earlier. But Eddy Cue was recently interviewed by an Indian publication called Live Mint, and he was asked specifically, this is the question he was asked by them. Apple historically has a track record of coming out with industry-defining products, whether it's the Mac or iPhone or iPod. But over the past decade, there's been a perception that the pace of innovation and the pace at which Apple has come out with game-changing breakthrough products has slowed somewhat. What do you have to say about that? Here's what Eddy Cue had to say. No way. First of all, the iPhone is 10 years old. That is the last decade. The iPad came after that, and the watch came after that. So I disagree vehemently with that. And I think we've been incredibly innovative. That doesn't even take into account the work that has been done on the Mac, iOS, and macOS. From that standpoint, where I think we've led the market. When you think of the products that we've built over time, you own a lot of them, and you just assume that every year was a new product. But it wasn't. You can't do revolutionary new products every 2 months or 6 months or whatever. They take time.
Yeah, he's right.
He's right, but he's also saying that the iPhone is 10 years old. Like the iPad came after that. Like, and the watch came after that. Look, when he brings up those as like kind of the big three, the iPhone was under SJ. The iPad was under SJ. The Apple Watch is really Tim Cook's baby. Now, I will tell you for the record, I do love the Apple Watch now as a Series 3 LTE version only because it fits my lifestyle, the specific use case of being able to work out and still be connected. If I didn't do that, I still think the Apple Watch would be nice-ish, good, but not a great revolutionary, gotta have breakthrough product. It just isn't. And so, that's what the question was. I think what's really telling is that Eddy Cue was instantly defensive about it, which tells you that they do have a complex, and they are hearing this buzz over the past, let's say maybe
a couple years
that they aren't innovative. Like, people are saying it. They don't want it to become a reality. And the way that Eddy Cue reacted was clearly like the knee-jerk, like, no way, we're not. But if you look at the examples he gave, where's the latest quote-unquote innovative products? They should have asked a follow-up. What about the Amazon Echo and the Google Home? Why weren't you guys in that space? That's one of the new platforms that is innovative. Apple wasn't in that game at all. They have the HomePod now. But again, that's a great example that they should have followed up with, well, you missed that boat,
Yeah, I mean, it's still really early in the Apple Watch. So, I mean, it still does have the potential to be an extremely innovative product later down the road. Like, I know they're getting into the healthcare business and all that stuff. So it does have potential. Like, we might not see it now, but we could see it in the future. And you're right. Like the whole Amazon Echo HomePod thing, they are behind, but Apple was also the first one that I ever talked to a robot, on my phone, like with Siri. So, I agree and I disagree with him, but they definitely have made things that I use a lot, and it's changed my behavior. I'm talking to robots now regularly. I don't have an Apple Watch, but he does have a good argument there.
Well, I think the other thing when I see this argument, and I agree with you, but I also would say the iPhone was a hit right out of the gates.
Well,
like, people were like, holy crap. The iPad was actually kind of poo-pooed until people saw it. Like, after Apple's keynote, I had so many people that told me, whatever, the iPad is a big iPod Touch. And guess what? Once people first picked up an iPad for the first time, they were like, holy crap, right? Like, they were able to get hits out of the gate. Even the iPod, I owned the very first iPod that was only made for Apple users. That was a FireWire-based iPod, and my Windows friends at the time couldn't use it at all. But when I showed it to them, they were all like, holy crap, this is awesome. But they weren't going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
So that, to me, we haven't, I don't know when or if, maybe it'll be the Apple glasses whenever they come out, but I haven't seen a product right out of the gate that people said, holy crap.
Yeah, totally.
Like, this is awesome. That's hard. Like, this is so hard. The people behind this are so much smarter than I will ever be. And so I will never claim to be smarter or ever claim to be able to make a product like this, but it starts with the visionary at the top. And the fact of the matter is, the Apple Watch was Tim Cook's baby, and it wasn't a visionary. It wasn't one of those, amazing visionary like products when it dropped. When it came out, people were like, okay, right?
It's like it's like a child of the iPhone, Like, the iPhone came out, it was so huge, it's like a big wave, and it's still crashing now. They're still riding that wave, and all these other products are kind of little offshoots of the iPhone, really. Like, the Apple Watch looks like a tiny iPhone, So,
and I think there's room over the course of a product for it to evolve and get a lot better. Like, example, iPad Pro. That's still probably my favorite device over the past year. One of my favorite devices. That, I guess, well, the Echo was earlier than a year, but the iPad Pro is a great example of a product that finally, when they decided to look at the software and create some new software innovations, that made it at least a special, unique product. Not that it does what a Surface does, but that makes the iPad something of its own. It became exciting again. So you can have a product evolve over its lifespan, but I'm talking about even whether it evolves or not over its lifespan, that initial gut check reaction when you see something and you play with it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, we haven't really seen that since this SJ days.
Yeah. We're kind of getting that with VR now. We are sort of getting that with VR, and they still have a lot of work to do on VR because people are not adopting it, but we're getting close.
I think VR is right now at an inflection point where a lot of manufacturers made stuff for it, like hardware for it, but not enough software is there to support it. People have companies have the resources spread all over the place. You don't have as many of the top companies, like the top game developers are still developing primarily for PlayStation and Xbox, and then some on Nintendo Switch. But it's not like every major developer is developing for VR, and that's its biggest obstacle. Like I have a PSVR, and I'm not using it because there's not enough stuff for it. Like there's nothing that said you've got to use this. Yeah. So that's more of a software issue. It's always software and hardware together. But again, like right out of the gates, man, the software and the hardware for the iPhone was like money. Like the software and the hardware for the iPad, once people picked it up, they're like, dude, this is awesome. And those are the experiences that we just haven't really been able to get from Apple for a while. So, and that's okay. They're a different company. We want to kind of counterbalance why Eddy Cue is so defensive, but because it's true. It's true. It's damn true. As Kurt Angle would say. It's true. It's damn true. All right. You know what? I'm gonna skip this last story because we're rolling. Let's go to the phone calls. Beach, are you cool with that?
Let's do it, baby. Thank you all for calling. We got a lot of good calls. We actually had a ton of calls, and I had to really.
Did anyone tell them it's their birthday?
What's that?
Did it remember when last week we had someone call and say it's my birthday, and we said happy birthday, and we were worried that people would call saying, hey, it's my birthday too. Why don't you wish me happy birthday?
We didn't actually. No, I didn't have any birthday calls today.
Well, people are honest.
Thanks for being honest, everybody. Okay, here we go. Oh, I got music playing. Here we go. And I'm going to move this guy down. Okay, here we go.
Yo, what's up, Brian? What's up, Beach? This is K-Star from Illinois.
K-Star.
Listen, I got a question about the Apple Watch, the third generation one, the LTE. Now, as far as in your Find Friends feature, how would that work with the watch? So, of course, you have to give access to someone to see where your location's at. So say if I'm out for a run with the watch and my phone's at home and someone wants to see where I am, would it show where I am with the watch or would it show where I am at home? So anyway, I look forward to seeing what you guys got to say. And yo, Brian, were you ever in a boy band back in the day and stuff? I know you always singing and stuff. I mean, you got some nice falsettos there or whatever. But anyway, thanks for the show, man. And I look forward to hearing what you guys got to say. Peace.
K-Star, hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's like, World Star K-Star, World Star K-Star. So the funny thing about the whole Find My iPhone, whether it defaults to your watch or your phone, I honestly don't know that specifically. I guess I should try it out. The only thing is that I actually don't use Find My Friends because I just don't. I think if you have a family, a lot more people use it. But for me right now, because I don't use it all because I don't like people knowing where I am. Like they don't have to know exactly where I'm at all the time. That's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of creepy, Beach, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little creepy. I don't use it either.
It's a little creepy. I'm not faulting anyone that does it because I completely understand. But I'll try it out and see what it says. I'll try it out and see what it defaults to. But then actually that's hard because I'll be wearing my watch while I have my phone. So I'm going to have someone else do it. So
someone else will have to track you where you are from their phone to see if it works.
Yes, exactly. That's the tricky part. Yeah. So, to be determined. Also, no boy band, but I did do like a lot of choir and like singing stuff like in high school and stuff.
Nice.
I was
in choir too.
I was one of those guys. Like we had like a quick little story. We had like a tryout group that would then like perform and stuff for like senior citizen homes and like festivals and stuff.
Nice.
We were called the Variations, but one of my friends liked to call us affectionately the Irritations.
That's a good one. The Irritations.
What a jerk.
All right.
Next call.
Cool. Next call. Here we go.
Hey, this is Matthew calling from Brockton, Massachusetts. Love the show, guys. There's been 10 iPhones now. Rank them 1 through 10. What do you think? And Brian, where do you get your shirts? Those T-shirts, I love them. They're fire. Give me the website. Later.
I guess I got to show a plug and do some love. Okay, so I get my shirts from a lot of places, but the main spot that I've gone to for years is my friends at Design by Humans, just 3 words altogether. Design by Humans. Check them out. They have all the crazy stuff, and you're also supporting a lot of independent artists that come up with some really amazing stuff. And then I'll just get other clothes from other places as well. But that's my t-shirt spot. That's like one of them. And then I also go on Redbubble. Like sometimes I'm just weird. Like I'll just search for something on Google, and then if I see a shirt that I like, then I just like go, oh, that's the one. Like I'll do like Bruce Lee shirts, and then I'll look at them and I'll be like, oh, that's the one I want. And so
nice.
I use this tool that you might not be familiar with called Google.
I hear that's very helpful in finding stuff.
Okay, wait. What was his other question? Was about what was the being?
Oh, rank iPhones, the 10 iPhones that are out. But we talked about this before, and there's too many to rank, and we didn't own all of them. So I think Brian.
I actually owned. I owned all of them except one.
Okay, cool. So do you want to do yours first? Or you want me to do mine?
I want you to do yours, but I think what's fun about this segment, I want to encourage people that are listening, guys and gals. We're not going to rank. We're going to try and remember what we can, but I think it's more profound to rank your top 5 iPhones. Okay,
cool.
Because that'll narrow it down, and I think there's some clear reasons why. So what we want you to do is, if you guys and gals call us, or you can tweet me at Brian Tong. We want to hear your top 5 iPhones of all time. Okay, it's at Brian Tong, or you can voice call in at 1. What was the number?
There's on the screen.
1-800-616-2638. Okay.
Cool.
So let's get to yours. How did you have 5 Beach, or
I've owned 5? Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is great. So let's start. Let's call it your top 5, babe. Your Fab 5. We're gonna call it the Fab 5.
What's your Fab 5 iPhone list? Number 1. Or wait, should I start from my least favorite? Right?
Yeah.
My least favorite is my current phone, the iPhone 6s, because there's nothing really great about it. It's too big, it's too uncomfortable for me to use. I still am contemplating going to the SE and selling my 6s on eBay, but I'm just haven't had time to do that. So that's my least favorite, which is currently have. My second least favorite was the iPhone 1, because it didn't have video. There were a lot of things it didn't have, but it was also extremely exciting when I first got it, right? So that's number 4.
Agree to disagree on that one.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Number 3, my third favorite iPhone was the iPhone 4, because I loved how, I just liked how it looked. It was kind of like in between 3GS and 5, so I chose the 4. I liked how it looked. I liked the size of it. It had video, all that stuff. My second favorite iPhone was the 3GS, because that was the first iPhone that came out with video, right? So when I got video, like I went crazy and shooting video all the time. I think that was like 2009 or something, 2010. Second favorite iPhone, just because it was the first to have video. And my favorite phone of all time was the iPhone 5, because it was fast. It was that new sleek kind of look too. And it was the right size. It was very light. Yeah, lightning port. It was very light in my hand. iPhone 5 was my favorite of the top 5. How about you, BT?
All right, so let's go back to. So just really quickly say the list of your 5 again, because we had comments. So
my top 1, my favorite, number 1, iPhone 5. Number 2, 3GS. Number 3, iPhone 4. Number 4, iPhone 1. Number 5, iPhone 6.
All right, here we go. First of all, I'd like to start off with the worst iPhone that was ever made. It was an insult to Apple's identity, the iPhone 5C. It was the plastic iPhone. It got me mad. People got mad at me for ripping on it. It was completely out of character for Apple to release the iPhone 5C. I had to get that out. All right. Cool. Here's my top 5. I have 4, and then I have a question mark. But I know that in my top 5 will be the iPhone 10. Somewhere in the top 5, the iPhone 10 will land. So right now I'm starting it off as the bottom of the 5. Next up, the iPhone 7 Plus, only because it was the first phone with a first iPhone with a dual lens camera and had that sexy portrait mode. And it was kind of like the highest evolution of that whole iPhone's 6S, like that design, the iPhone 7 Plus. Yeah, from 6 to 6S to 7 Plus. That would be number 4. Number 3, the iPhone 5S, specifically because it was the first phone with Touch ID, and I love Touch ID. Like, nice. it finally brought that functionality of using your phone like a wallet that has been in Japan since I checked it out in 2002. Like, think about how long ago that was. 2002.
Wow.
They already had fingerprint phones. We didn't even have them here until then. Number 2, the iPhone 4, arguably the best iPhone design we have ever seen from a visual perspective. The glass on both sides and the metal rim. It did have antenna gate, but I love it from a design standpoint. And my number one iPhone of all time is the original iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
One that started it all, the game changer. It still works to this day. It was an amazing phone. Like, I have to say the number one iPhone was the original. It rocked my world.
I'm shocked that your iPhone 1 still works, man. That's pretty incredible.
So my order, top 5 from 1 to 5, original iPhone, iPhone 4, iPhone 5S, iPhone 7, and somewhere the iPhone 10. So when you let us know, we don't want the calls to be super long. Let us know your top 5, just go down the line like that, and then maybe talk about one that sticks out for you.
Cool.
Right? Because that's fair. Or tweet them out. The other one that I do want to say, though, I think that is also should follow along the lines of a classic phone. I think the iPhone SE, to me, is kind of like a classic phone.
You think so?
Yeah, because the size, the design, they've modernized it a little bit, but it's not in my top 5. But I think the iPhone SE, over the course of the life of the entire iPhone family, will end up being one of those kind of like iconic-y type phones, because it's basically like the iPhone 5, right? Yeah, it's the iPhone 5 model.
Yeah. It's like it's kind of like the everyman's phone, right? That Apple just put that one out there for anyone to use. It's not super high end. It's not low end. It's like the everyman, every woman phone.
I'm curious what people on the Twitter and Periscope are thinking or saying, but yeah, give us your top 5 iPhones. That's awesome. That's super fun. I like that.
Right on. That's it, man. We're done.
Woo! Wait. You forgot one call.
Oh, do we have one more call? Oh, yes.
Dude,
this is the most important call, actually. I'm very sorry, but let's listen to this real quick. Here we go.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Steven. This is Mike. I like your show. I appreciate you guys do the work. And I just want to talk about the bezel-less. Actually, Apple didn't say anything about the bezel-less at their event. Then why is there so much buzz around for bezel-less? I didn't get that. Thank you.
Bezel-less.
That's gonna be the new that's gonna be a new meme here for the show, man. Bezel-less.
I'm gonna cut that out of this.
Dude,
call,
please cut it out. Cut it out. Use it. Bezel-less. Okay, thank you for calling. That is so awesome. Look, the whole bezel-less thing is really just more of a buzzword across the industry. A screen with no edges to give you a bigger screen. That's the direction everyone's going. That's why people are pooping on the Google Pixel 2, because it's not a truly bezel-less screen. I think that's bunk, because the phone is awesome. Like, it's not going to stop me from getting that as my second, kind of my work phone, my Google phone. So sacrilegious, guess what? Yeah, I do use a Pixel for my work phone. But my daily driver is without a doubt an iPhone. Come on, I'm in the ecosystem. I'm locked in like that. So that's why people care about bezel-less.
Bezel-less. We got to make a remix, man.
Bezel-less.
Cool. So that is it. That is all of our calls, all of our stories. Thank you guys, everybody.
Yes, that is awesome. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Remember, call us 1-800-616-2638. That's going to do it for this week. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Thanks for listening. We'll catch y'all next week. Be safe. Peace.
Peace out.